Morning, folks. Good morning. Happy Friday. We'll get started here just in a few minutes. Hopefully, you've had time to kind of go over the notes here. And what an amazing week, right? It's been really fun. I hope you guys have been having a good time. The video really made my week. And just to kind of talk through that with you guys, we were having fun this morning talking with our group of friends and talking about the trade itself. It felt like it wasn't actually going to happen. So on Wednesday night, I had a really hard time sleeping, and it was kind of cool because I felt like a brand new trader again. That like crazy feeling, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening to me. And so the trade itself, it just really brought back some of that nostalgic feeling of when I first started trading. Because here, when we are using supply and demand, I believe that we become desensitized after a few months. You start to see how well the levels work in the methodology that I teach you. And it's really important to not get desensitized, still have a really good time, understand what your allocation is, understand what the chart is for the day, understand the bigger picture. I think that's the most important thing when you step in every single morning while I coach you. All right. We talk about these levels. That's what I'm going to do with you. And because it's Friday, I want to just quickly run through what's happened so far this week. Now, the big thing is that we send out the charts way in advance. That's what is the edge of supply and demand, is that I'm able to set up a chart and tell you what to do weeks, days, months in advance, which is really cool. Once you learn the strategy, your job is basically to wait for the zone and then to execute it with risk in mind. Okay. So looking at today and looking at the entire week, what is important here is that we go back and take a look at what's happened so far with our zones that we created months ago. Notice that price is pushed into the supply zone over and over. Is now an inside week. What this means for me, folks, is that I do not believe that price will hold over 4,200 today. If it does, that's great. I'm a bull by nature. But what I'm looking at is that this current candle that we have on the screen will end up staying in. Why is this important for you, even if you intraday trade? Well, for me, it keeps the FOMO out. It makes me understand that I probably shouldn't be aiming towards 4,200, but if it happens, cool. And of course, we know how to ride that trend if it does happen. Okay. The next thing that I want to show you is this bigger support level. This is a demand zone, but we named it support. We named this demand. It has worked, folks. 1, 2, 3, and 3 times. Okay. Worked very, very well. Actually, I'm sorry, 4 times. I couldn't tell that we touched it. It's worked 4 times in a row. This is really, really neat. So our levels that were pushed out months ago continue to work. As we move on over, this is your daily that we've sent out on Sunday for you. And you can see here the trigger long and the zone is now working to the upside. The thing that I showed you yesterday and that I really want to reiterate this morning is that these two opposing zones tell me right away that today's action could be pretty tight. The biggest level that we need to get over as far as this daily is concerned is over 4180. So if you want to set an alert there, you can. Let's move on over here. Notice here this morning, I have a chart for you. That's the 1 hour. Okay. So the 1 hour is very important for today because what it means, and please understand this, what it means is that I'm committed to the candle of the close. I don't care about the fact that it dropped. We were actually calling that out, that it would come into 4161 and hit that cloud. That's exactly what it did. Once it hit the EMA cloud, it then bounced back up to the automated Tr3ndy level that identifies daily supply. That was also in your notes. This is resistance here. So they are opening us up maybe perhaps 26 minutes from now into a smaller zone. Notice that the liquidity grabs are around 4175 and 4165. Notice that the 4161 by 54 also worked. This is basically a zone in here. And if you notice, we have this little green arrow. And I know many of you have the indicator, so you understand this arrow is identifying the zone for you. Price just simply came in, pushed into the inside and up formation, and then pushed up. Once again, showing you that news is just a catalyst that pushes price into a level, and it's up to you to execute that level. Very straightforward. Let's go ahead and go over here into our next chart. This is the one that really matters when it comes to daily executions. Right now, we have what's called the PMZ, the pre-market zone. It's going to pop up on my chart. You're going to see that when we open. This is the holy grail as far as intraday goes, along with our automated targets and the cloud to kind of help you understand where the trend is and where resistance will be. Your risk today, as of right now, and it is and can change as we have about 25 minutes left, is 3.25. So listen up. My risk right now, and no matter what trade I take, is going to be 3.25 points. That's it. When the PMZ pops up on the screen, it'll be a nice little pretty box. And basically the mechanical approach of this is going long over that level and or going short. There is no bias, okay? Take bias out of this. Take news out of this. This has nothing to do with any of that. What we're trying to do is create traders who are unemotional and use a repeatable process by using levels that work. Let me go ahead and show you a demonstration really quick. Yesterday, future traders went short here, stops above here, price comes down. Where are you happy? That's up to you. If you don't have an automated target in here, then some of you, you bring your stops down after 2 points. Some people do 5 points. Some people do 10 points. Totally up to you. Notice price wraps around, pushes up to the PMZ. It is resistance when it is above price. Pretty straightforward. Again, giving you an opportunity to go short. Price then moves back up to the PMZ, giving you an opportunity to go short. Just like anything else, it becomes weak. We then break through it, and then it gives you the opportunity to go long. Matter of fact, folks, if you recall, this right here was a very nice push, and I know many of you were sitting right here, and I kind of thought to myself, was this us, right? And then boom, it pops up very quickly, does not stop you out from 41.62 all the way into 41.73, 10 points in a matter of less than 5 minutes, and it comes right back down. This is what those PMZs look like. All right. If we're above the PMZ, it is support until proven otherwise. Anybody unclear on what that means? If so, please let me know, and I'll be happy to explain any questions that you might have. Anybody unclear on what we're talking about? That long hurts your heart, Bobby? How do you determine stop on options? That's a great one. Right? How do you use stops on your options? All right, so there's 2 different ways. I want to show you a whiteboard really quick. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me get over here. Control-2, go to W. Let's just say the PMZ looks like this. Today, the risk is 3.25 points, and it can change before the open. Basically, this is what I'm looking for. If price is underneath the PMZ, we can look for it to be resistance. Okay? If it gets in here even deeper, what I personally like is the further we get into this zone and then we start to show a sign of potentially coming down, I'd rather execute here, because what happens is now that my risk is not 3.25, it's probably more like 2 points. And then if I get the flush, I got a better entry. Okay. Now, what if price then moves over? Okay. If I like the risk, the aggressive approach is that I go long immediately when it breaks. If you don't like the risk, you can be conservative and you can wait for the candle to close. I'm not a huge fan of waiting for the candle to close, but I'll tell you that many traders are. It's all about the risk for me. If this number were 5 or more, I would probably be more hesitant on going long immediately. I'd probably be more conservative. As far as options are concerned, the risk, if we were to do SPY today, your risk is only going to be about 35 cents. Okay. So you have to decide whether or not, if you take this trade using SPY, if you want to wait for the candle to close before you get stopped out, That's up to you. Or do you want to just place a 35-cent stop? Okay. Yeah, so they calculate on their own every single morning. Okay. So they're going to calculate. So for example, right now, folks, if you notice, it says PMZ high, PMZ low. The difference between these two is your risk. Okay. So I get this question often as well. Well, do we need to wait for the open before we take the trade? No. If you don't want to wait for the open, you don't have to. What's always important about every single trade that we talk about is the fact, are you okay with your risk? Are you okay with the risk? If you're okay with the risk, try the trade. That's really what it comes down to. That to me is the secret sauce of any trade. We already know we have good levels. The question is whether or not your risk tolerance fits that particular trade. That's what it's all about for us. Okay. All right. So moving on over, what's happening right now? This is really, really important, folks. Okay. This is important. And this is the part that I really need people to understand when you listen to me. We've been doing this for years. Supply and demand is not something new. It's been working since the inception of the market. These levels are amazing. You can see that. Any level that's on my chart to the upside, I want you to think this is resistance. If you're long, the safer trader brings up their stops and starts to trim. If prices move into the downside and you have a level, you want to be careful. Okay, what I mean is if you went short here and we're approaching here, traders then trim and or bring their stops down in their shorts. Okay. Now the key is for us to get range in the market. Can we get range in the market? We want range. Right now it's a little tight. We got to break out. So we want to look up and to the left for these little areas like this. Your liquidity grab. What I would expect is for price to push up and then pivot and come back in and flag for a few minutes. And then from there, we'll see if we want to actually make it up here to 83 and 93. Far as right now, you are between two opposing levels. Okay, you're higher on the curve. This is resistance until proven otherwise. All right. Now you guys will see once we open up here, it'll be a lot, what should I say? A lot easier to coach and help you understand what I'm looking at. Now, how does this go with anything that you're using? Say you're using a different technique. All I want you to do today is not get confused. I want you to ask questions, but I also want you to look at how well the levels work. And I want you to look at it being open-minded. We are machines. I mean, honestly, when we come in here to trade futures, I want you to think like a machine. I don't want you to get too emotional. They're levels. You know your risk, just execute. We're not going for long-term trades here, right? We're not going for long-term trades. And the reason why we're not going for long-term trades at the moment is because we're not in a demand zone. This is where you would have started a long-term trade. And we have not hit a major supply zone on the 1 hour. So we don't want to go short long-term either. Basically, what we're doing is we're riding a trend, okay? And at the moment, notice that price is above this cloud. It's an EMA cloud. As long as price can hold above that EMA cloud, I expect it to continue moving up. That's a 1 hour look. Again, once we open the market, we'll be looking at the 5-minute look. And then we'll be executing off of those levels. Okay. Now, if you're brand new at trading, I don't care if you're using my system or somebody else's, micros is always a great way to start. We also can trade SPY and we could trade SPX. Okay. I kind of do it all. Futures trading for me, I love trading options in futures as well. So basically, this is my thing. If I were bullish and I'm looking for this target right up in here, I can literally buy a debit spread in the ES futures for this level. Okay. For right now, though, just sideways action. We're just kind of moving sideways. Let's talk about a couple other things outside of futures, folks, because I'm dual broadcasting in our room here at Simpler Trading as well. So it's important that I go over some other things just besides futures. Okay. So right now, folks, we did add into our meta trade that was positive yesterday. We're up about $2 this morning. So if you want to trim on the open, you can look to do that as well. Okay. Moving on down and looking at just a few other things, far as like watches go today, I want to keep it easy. It's Friday. We've done well. But it is important to notice that AMD continues to move up. And I was just talking about this morning. Many folks probably think that it's over exuberant, right? And that the semis can't move any further. But when looking at the bigger picture of AMD, you can actually see that AMD has a long ways to go. And I want to show you what I mean really quick. All right, so this is the weekly chart of AMD. What's important to understand when applying our methodology, first of all, your leap traders using the trendy edges or the higher time frame demand zone, this is working really well. Matter of fact, this was your target here, and then it blew to the upside. I would expect it to stall probably about where we are, 122 to 127. I want it to stall. 112 is the bigger term support, and I do believe that we're headed up to about 142 to 145. Okay. Timing is the variable. This is a big move. It's going to need to digest. Okay. So once again, is this the place where I'd want to get long? Not necessarily. But if you want to intraday trade it, I would say go over to the 5-minute chart, check your PMZ, and see if you like the risk. Okay. Right now, your PMZ is only 20 cents. And right here, your PMZ high is 123.20. And your PMZ low is 122.98. So really about 25 cents. Okay, I would at least round it up to 25 cents. All right. Moving on down, looking at some other trades. You know, my biggest trade this week obviously was NVIDIA. Meta, we just kind of added in. We're messing around with that. Netflix, also, I like this trade. We took profits off. As far as plug, we have 200 plus days, not much to do there. TDoc took some off, still have 56 days. Tesla, we did really well. I think it was this week, folks, that we had, I'm getting last week and this week a little bit confused, but we got upwards towards about 500%, and then we rolled, and this was my third roll. And then I'll continue to stay in that as well. And Tesla's down here at 184.95, pretty flat. I want to give you some PMZ numbers just in case you're interested in taking Tesla this morning. It does have a tendency to move. And so I want to go over that just really quick. Your PMZ, folks, this morning, your risk is about 40 cents. I would at least make that 50 cents. And your PMZ high is 185.60, and your PMZ low is 185.21. All right. Line in the sand. Notice it's bouncing off of that right now. And far as like targets for today would be up here at 186, which is only about $1 after you break out. And then anything above that, stay in the trade as long as you can hold above the cloud. Okay. NASDAQ. Let's go over the NASDAQ just really quick. All right, so NASDAQ, same thing. We do a chart every week. Let's see how it's working out for us. Notice that the NASDAQ price has pushed oversupply and closed now. I would like to see price hold and base above 13,743. Those were the instructions over the weekend. Notice price came down into support, just like we talked about. It held very well, and we are definitely closing over 13,743 unless something really weird happens. Your next target is 14,074 and a quarter, as far as this week is concerned. Notice here that we came down perfectly into the trigger long zone here between 13,696 by 13,547. And if you took this trade, congratulations, as we have pushed quite a bit to the upside. But notice that we are coming into our short trigger. Folks, when we get to the short trigger, it doesn't mean you just go short because it says short. I want you to flip to a 1 to 5 minute chart. I want you to look at the TTM squeeze. And if you see the dark blue bars, at least two dark blue bars, look to go short with your stops above the 14,066. Moving on over this morning, looking at the 5 minute chart. Your risk today on the NASDAQ is 13.25 points. Your long trigger is 14,031.5, and your short trigger is 14,018 by a quarter. All right. Again, really straightforward. Once we open up, you guys will start to see some of this. And again, we'll come over here. I'm going to leave it on ES. Melissa, are you watching anything? So this is kind of outside of the futures room, but Melissa, you can jump on the mic here. And if you got a watch, let's listen to it. Nope. Okay. Melissa's just scalping today, so she doesn't have like a watch that she wants to necessarily be looking at. What we will do, and I want to talk about this really quick, is we always start with the ES futures every single morning. All right. There's always an actionable plan here. All right. Always. The next thing is that I like to trade my portfolio based on the ES futures. If I'm bullish, I want to be net long. Okay. It doesn't mean that I won't go short intraday, but I want to be net long. And as of right now, folks, we're still bumping up to supply on a higher time frame, but intraday says that we could potentially move here from about 75 to 85. We'll see if that happens. You'll notice that the PMZ is starting to pop up here. Also, the reason why I have a watch list over here on the side is because I have what's called watch list scanners. So it makes it really straightforward for me to find things that are setting up in the PMZ. You'll notice that I have the RTY, the Dow Jones, the minis, whatever, gold futures. And all I have to do is double click on this PMZ signal 5 minutes after the open, and then I'll get my setups. The next thing is my trendy edges identify supply and demand zones on multiple time frames. They're color coordinated to find that. So all I need to do is run this scanner during the day, and I have an idea of where price is. Is it at demand? Is it at supply? Okay. So we'll be looking at those, kind of talking through some of this. But as of right now, folks, we got about 8 minutes left. I am going to quickly heat up my coffee and take any questions that you guys might have. And then we could talk about that. But about 3 minutes before the open, I will be concentrating, maybe 2 minutes before the open, I'll be concentrating here. And once again, you don't have to trade ES, guys. You could trade SPY or the micros or something like that. Okay. Yeah, so GRL, that's a great question. So again, I want you to think mechanical. Okay. Think mechanical. Like don't overthink it. Like you shouldn't have too many ideas or thoughts around the PMZ. It's long above, short below. All right. Long above, short below. But I want you to take into consideration where things are. For example, notice that the PMZ is popping up right here, but I told you guys right here is where your daily supply is. So what you have to do is look at 3.25 and go, is 3.25 a great risk to reward scenario here? Okay. We keep bumping into the trendy edge and its resistance. So if I go long from here, okay, at 41.68, 3/4, and I get out at 41.70, is it worth it? That's up to you. Everybody's different. Okay. So right now, the risk to reward's a little skewed because honestly, price is just really sideways. And it's Friday. And if any of you guys listen to my broad market analysis that I sent out in the training/free room here at Simpler, you guys will, you hear me talk about Memorial Weekend coming up. Where I live, everybody takes off today. Matter of fact, all of my friends are already starting to go out on the water, camping out. Like they have a 4-day weekend planned. Okay, this is one of the biggest times for people to get out on the road, go do things. It's typically a long holiday, so I'd expect the market to be kind of choppy today. Okay, on choppy days, you can get beat up on the PMZ. So a little bit of thing, as far as caution goes today, what I want to do is just basically look at the levels, trade off of the levels, see if the risk to rewards there, and we'll kind of get a feeling here. I believe after the first couple minutes on the open. Okay. Yeah. So Bundy, the indicators are available. You just have to reach out to support. Yep. Yep. And I can't wait for the 31st as well. It'll be a good time. And I really hope you guys have a fantastic holiday coming up. I know I'm looking forward to it. So All right, cool. Don, welcome back. I'm really jealous you went to Greece. I've never have actually went there, but one of my favorite foods has to be Mediterranean, Greek, and then, Japanese. I went to school in Japan, so I love Japanese sushi, you know, ramen, yakitori. Um, I'm very, very cultured. My father was in the Air Force for 31 years, and then I was in 21 years. So we did a lot of traveling. And I tell you what, I think I moved to a place where there's like absolutely no culture when it comes to food, but it's getting better. So it's been hard for me to get used to the lack of food varieties here where I live. So I don't know. I don't know if Neil's listening, but I don't know if you guys know this, but Neil lives close to me. We're very close, like literally, like probably 10 minutes away from each other or something like that. So he probably knows what I'm talking about, unless he like grew up here. You know, people where I live here, they think pepper is spicy, black pepper. It is the funniest thing. Oh, Yishan, I was in Misawa. Yeah. I told my father I would never come back either. I was in, so my father was stationed there and I loved it so much. I said, I do not want to go back to America. That's how much I loved it. So, a couple notes here again. Notice how we are basically just kind of popping into the trendy edge here, and that is resistance. And now we've kind of come back into that little liquidity grab area as well. And so about 5 minutes after the open, you'll start seeing the PMZ box light up here. All right, so there's our first break. Now it's going to be tricky, watch. They're going to mess around a little bit. People want to go on vacation today. I always like to think like the bigger institutions, these guys aren't sitting around looking at 5-minute candles. I mean, let's be honest, right? They're thinking about what they're going to pack when they go out for their holidays this week. All right, so this is liquidity grab area. And I think that, you're going to see that. It's going to mess around a little bit before it actually wants to take a bite. So remember what we talked about on the open. The break above the PMZ is really quick. So if you're trying to go long, notice it just keeps bouncing right into the same stuff here. So you can tell it's going to be choppy on the open. And at some point, somebody's going to have more money, and we're either going to break this little level or we're not. The only thing that you could do is understand what your risk is. That's the only thing you could do, folks. All right, so there's first target if you're already trying to take just a quick trim. Okay, that's all you're promised right now as far as the levels are concerned. That's all you're promised. And I'm going to back this up. Don't forget to check out your TTM squeeze as well. Notice that we're trying to get a signal. We're above the cloud. If we can break just right through this pivot, your next target's going to be 41.73. I would say 50 to be careful. Could go ahead and trim right here, right now. Good job. Good job, guys. Next target, 41.75. It's going to be your liquidity grab. There it is right there. Good job. All right, now what do we need to do? Got to go to the bigger screen. I want to show you guys the Fibonacci rules just really quick. Let's go ahead and come up here. Let's go ahead and measure. I'm going to go from this pivot low into this pivot high right here, just like this, okay? And what I want you to pay attention to, I'm going to start moving some lines around, okay? We've already done what we needed to do as far as this is concerned. Now, this is the methodology that I want to teach you. As long as price can hold above this 23.6 and 38.2, and really it's kind of early, but as long as it can hold above the PMZ, let's call it that, we want to stay in the trade for a particular or for a potential move into the 83 level. Okay. Now, don't be surprised if it dips in, but you also need to be careful. Always be looking at your profits and bringing your stops up. I don't want you to go from a red or a green trade to a red trade. That makes no sense at all. Okay. Another thing that I want to point out to you is to reiterate, if you're okay with the risk, I don't wait for candles to stop. The reason why I don't is because I don't know if the market just hates me or what, but when I wait for a candle to close, it always comes back on me. Always. You know what I'm saying? And I get too excited and I go long here and then it pulls back and then I'm pissed off right away. I much rather like face my fear of losing the 3.25 and look at the targets. Mm-hmm. And you guys can still hear me, right? Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool, cool. All right, so that PMZ, remember what I said this morning? We'll see if it's going to be support now. You got your quick few points, folks. It's not, I mean, it's nothing amazing right now. Yeah, you could have reversed off of that, Dave. I see you reversing off the levels. Nice job. This is a liquidity grab. Does everybody understand what I mean by that? There's your support at that 41.68. Boom. There it is. Hopefully, I see some of you guys being super aggressive here. So if you went short, that was a great place to trim again. Nice job, Iowa. All right, so what are we looking for here? Some subtle things that you could take note of. We have what's called a topping wick, which lets you know that bears are in control up here. Liquidity grab. What this means is traders who went short this morning, my idea was they had a stop here. So the bigger market institutions, hedge funds, what they're doing is they're taking your stops. They are building liquidity for the bigger move that's about to happen. The timing is the variable. When does the bigger move happen? I can't tell you when. All right. But if it's going to happen, they're trying to build money. They're basically walking down the street, taking money from your pockets. And once their pockets are full, they explode. That's the idea. And if you can get on the same like thinking path that these guys are working with, you start to think like them. You want to be like them. You don't want to be using the same thing that everybody else is using. What is your edge in the market? Seriously, you got to think differently. Nice, Melissa. I hope you get that target here in a second. There it is. Check that out. Just some easy Fibonacci rules, guys, that keep you from getting your ass handed to you. Right down into our support system. Let's see if we can now push over the high. That's kind of a key point. Notice that the cloud continues to hold. All right, guys, I am trimming our add-on to our Meta from yesterday. You're going to see that pop up immediately. Boom, there it is. All right, we took out the high. Now our targets are set on 41.83. This is what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to bring this into a smaller time frame. I'm going to drop to a 3-minute. Watch this. So I'm going to drop to a 3-minute. What happens when I drop to a smaller time frame is Thinkorswim takes too damn long to open up here. All right, but what actually happens, I'm trying to be funny, is that the cloud gets closer to price, okay? Cloud gets closer to price. And what that does is it eliminates all the risks that you had. And I apologize, this thing's going to be acting weird for me. I'm going to go back to a 5-minute. Too much data on the 3-minute. But 41.83, don't be a D for a T. As soon as we get close to it, I want you to start bringing those stops up. You could do a trail stop as well. Okay. All right, same thing. Let's go ahead and draw some Fibonacci's. We're actually going to draw them from a different standpoint now. So I'm going to go from this cloud where we got the buy signal with your trendy indicator, and we're going to do this. Now I'm going to use different levels. I want you to concentrate on the 23 and the 38 of this level. Almost there. All right, so I would say that this classifies don't be a D for a T. Let's go ahead and put a trailing stop up here on the target. Bring those trailing stops in. I would at least be doing a trailing stop at 3.25 on your profits here, 3.25. Remember, anything that we risk today is going to be 3.25. So our main target is hit. PMZ is working great. This is looking like 77.85, almost 15 points here. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue to use the fibs. We're going to come in here just to show proof of concept really quick for you. All right, so what is another thing that we could be doing right now, folks? This is important. Don't get FOMO. What do you do from here? Besides understanding where your 23 and 38 are, what do you need to do? I want you to quickly scroll through the charts that I've given you over the weekend, and I want you to find out really fast where we are. Be careful, right? We're not suckers. We're not thinking like retail traders. Retail traders, that's you and me. We learn the hard way, don't we? So what we want to do is we want to understand the bigger picture, what people are looking at. Over here on the daily, I'm going to tell you this. We got our 41.83. 86 is your next target, and I want you to definitely be careful somewhere between 91 and 97, okay? But 86 is that next target. Let's flip back to the 5-minute. Support for right now, we're going to put 23.6 here, 38.2. I'm going to take away this level here. Okay, we already hit that target. I'm going to raise this above the pivot high just like this. And I'm just trying to give you a visual so you guys can understand. And then now we're going to create a zone between the 23 and 38, just like this. I'm going to create a box here. This is your support. You do not want a candle to close under here. And if it does, expect it to come back to the 5-minute cloud. Either way, you should have a 3.25 trailing stop on this trade. And time stands still. All right, we're at 85. Again, that 86 level, I was saying be careful up in here, okay? And let's see what the rest of the market's doing really quick. Gold futures up a tad. You're in Apple, right, Melissa? Nice. And you're in Amazon? Nice. You guys are doing awesome. So happy we could finish this week super strong, folks. Once we're finished here, we'll be done at, I believe, 10. Maybe it's 10:30. I'm not sure. I think it's 10. But as soon as we're finished here, I have a call that I have to do at 10. Got it. Thanks, Mimi. Yeah, so when I put support up here, what I did, just to reiterate, um, all I simply did was take the Fibonacci. I used this candle instead, and the reason why I use this candle instead of this one is because you should have already been super stoked about your profits here. I don't want to be giving you levels way down here. I don't want to see anybody go from red to or green to red. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm tightening up the support. Okay, and so originally I had come about right here, and that's where you find the 23. Now that we've moved and made a new pivot, watch this. We're going to move this up a tad, just like this, okay? We're going to move this line just right above there, and then we're going to move this line to about right here, okay? Everybody understand? Now, if I were to draw my fibs from the origin of this rally, all it simply does is make those numbers different, okay? So you would see that the 38.2 is down here. Now, I will tell you this number is more synergistic than these because this level right here matches the 5-minute cloud. I love this. It's very confluent. So if we pierce really quickly to the downside, I would expect us to hit this 41.75. The topping wicks are your first sign that you're about to get a reversal in the market. Okay. But where people don't have an edge is they never know where price is going. That's not something we do here at Tr3ndy. We give you prices. We tell you where price is going. We tell you how to react off of those prices, right? I don't know how many people I've heard over the years tell you you can't give somebody a target. That's crazy. You use supply and demand to find targets. They're very huge inflection points in the market. We want to identify these levels before price gets there. Okay. I remember that was like one of the biggest things that really opened my eyes when I started learning about supply and demand was I was like, wait a minute, now we could actually find where price is going. How many times did I follow somebody and they try to tell me like, I don't know, right? I just want to make like 200%, man, right? Yeah, that's a great strategy until you get your ass handed to you and you have no idea. You're like, well, why did it come back? I don't know. Well, I'll tell you this. The reason why I found all of these special levels and measuring and stuff like that is because I kept getting stopped out and I would get super frustrated and nobody could tell me anything. Nobody. I can't tell you how many places I've been, folks, over the years, how many services I've tried, uh, just different people with different strategies, and honestly, just so much noise when all you need to do is trade around price action, supply and demand, have a few tricks up your sleeve on how to stay in a trade, put all that stuff together, get your mind right, stop watching news, right? People think I joke around. I'm telling you right now, we don't watch any news in this house. Zero. All right, topping wick right down into the first support level at 41.82. Now, listen to me, folks. This is where a lot of traders would start thinking about getting long. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but this is crazy to me. This is where you want to get long. You want to have the edge, right? And then you want to be trimming to those folks who are just now thinking about getting long. See, traditional trading, they look at too many indicators to get them on the right side. Well, this isn't lining up. This isn't lining up. Volumes, people who talk about volume, there's no volume there. And then they finally start to go long right here where we start trimming and or selling our contracts to them. You want to be on the other side of the trade. You want to be different. If you're having a hard time trading, whether it's futures, options, equity, the idea is to actually figure out what to do to get on the other side of the trade. All right, inside and down formation starting right now. You guys might not know what that is. That's okay. Don't get overwhelmed. But this is the first sign that we could, the topping wicks are one thing, right? But this inside and down formation, if we come up, smack a lower high here, I would expect prices to drop now back down into the cloud, okay? See what happens. Maybe one little last spike here, and then maybe we come back to retest the cloud here. You're welcome, Andrew. Andrew, that's pretty awesome. He said he's a seller of premium, which he did at my levels, and 90% capture on all trades this week. Good job, man. That's what I'm talking about. Jessica, did I answer your question? I'm sorry, I forget to scroll down on the chat. Good job, Dave. Nice to go long. So here's that inside and down. So again, if we fail to make a high over the body here, expect price to come in to 78 and probably 76. Okay, so Steve, great question. Steve asked me, hey, John, with this liquidity grab, are you saying that institutions are building up money to eventually go long? Would you front run them? So I'm not saying that they're getting long. I'm saying that they are taking retail's money for the bigger move. We don't know if it's going to be long or short, correct? But what we do know is that we have a process. And if it goes over the PMZ, then we are assuming that it is going to the long side. I hope that helps. I have tricks to front run formations, and I could teach you that once we have our class. But for like right now, I'll keep that out of the picture. But it's really cool. And it has nothing to do with liquidity grabs. It's more around formations. Wow, Melissa, your Amazon's taken off. You're in Amazon, right? I'm trying to look at two different chat rooms, so I apologize. Yeah, my order fill was actually pretty slow. I got in at 71 this morning. 41.71. All right, so here's that pop. If it fails to make a new high, look for it to come down into 78.75. It could easily go inside and up, guys. The biggest thing I want you to think about right here is that it is still holding 23 and 38% of the move. And this is the part that a lot of people don't have that edge. And it is one of the simplest edges I've ever taught anybody. All right, so we're coming up really close to it here. Yeah, the colored lines are the edges, folks. Yep. They sure are. Feels a little lethargic. I know it's a little quiet, guys. See, so I start talking a lot, and then my damn coffee goes cold. I'm going to be right back, okay? And just like that, I just covered, guys. I hope you were in that short as well. Super easy, wasn't it? So fun. I love it. Short, 84 and a half. I still feel like I was a little late. Cover 81. Mm-hmm. You're welcome, not Al Bundy. So why not Al Bundy? I gotta ask. So again, guys, we pull right back very close to the cloud here. Miles, how are you doing this morning? I was wondering if you were still here, man. Of course. You're like, I feel like Miles is kind of like Benji, man. You are like the heart of the chat room. I love it. JB, awesome. Appreciate that. Yep. And just for reference, guys, I do what I say. Okay. There's my short. That's my cover right there. So just so everybody knows who might be interested and who listens to me and stuff like that, we talk about API alerts. Now, we're the only ones that do this anywhere that I am aware of. So as soon as I take a trade, it is sent to our room within milliseconds. However, that does not include future trades, unfortunately. Future trade API is not behind the same source as where your normal trades are in Thinkorswim. It's kind of weird, but you never know what could happen in the future. We might find some kind of workaround, but we've looked many years. But we do trade options and all that fun stuff and equity, and that stuff is straight from our API, and it gets sent to the room like that here at Simpler Trading. So if you guys didn't know, I'm actually here at Simpler Trading. I am no longer I no longer own Tr3ndy Trading, if that makes sense. There was that first pivot high. I told you, if we go over to the daily, watch this. If we go to the daily, watch this. Right there. Remember what I told you earlier? Be careful right in this area, didn't I? So this is what we're looking at now is the daily. Oh, awesome, Miles. Great job, man. So do you guys see how important it is, though, honestly, to have a strategy that incorporates bigger picture into 5-minute execution? So what we're doing is we're having a good time trading on an intraday perspective. And I always tell people, like, the PMZ is pretty freaking impressive because when it works, it works. And what I want you to do is think mechanical. As long as you're okay with the stop, press the freaking button and see what happens. That's the only thing that we could do. It really is accept our loss before we take a trade. That is the holy grail. The levels and all that stuff, man, I teach you how to do that. I think you'll pick that up. But like when you go to take a trade, if you're okay with that risk that's up there on the screen and the risk we talk about, that's what matters. My biggest thing when I was trading in the past, many years ago, was that I never knew how much I was risking. All I could see were dollar signs. Every time I took a trade, all I could see was how much I would make. Right? Do you feel me? Like, think about it, guys. Why do you take a trade? Because you think you're going to win money. And the crazy thing is you have no freaking idea if you're going to make money. The only absolute in trading is that risk number. You will lose. And if you lose, that will be the number that you and I decide we will lose today. That's all that matters. Am I right? Who agrees with that? Seriously. Futures room doesn't know what hit them over here. They're pretty quiet. Come on, guys, wake up. Let's go. Man. Where's that guy now? Right? Where's that guy now? There we are. Microsoft, MU, Netflix, all these beautiful trades. I do. Yep, for sure. I can get you some levels. Yep. So really fast, though, before I do that, let's get to the 5-minute. Okay. Let's go ahead and find a new 23 and 38, guys. We're going to go from the pivot low into the pivot high. We're going to change these numbers around, okay? And we are going to go right there. Okay. Right there. Right there. Okay. And I'm going to put this support at the 618. Okay. We're almost up there towards this target. I'm going to keep moving this up. The target hasn't changed. So we hit the first target, and now this is kind of the backside of that target right here. Okay. So I'm going to put that right there. 618, a rally that I measured. Okay, right there. And actually, this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to detach, and I'll work up a MU chart for you really quick. Okay, so give me 1 second. That way we can keep this on the screen and kind of talk through it. Yeah, it was the wick JL 4150. And but JL, what's really important, what made me take my trade? One, the risk always first. I'm okay with 3.25 as a stop. Second, we had a topping wick. We failed to make a new high within the first couple minutes. So I shorted, and then I have my cover right before the cloud. Okay. Does that answer? Hey, you want to see something really cool? Who asked me about MU? Let's see. I'm trying to find. Sorry, I'm looking at 3 different places here. Okay, Todd, check out the intraday PMZ trade on this. 13 cents a risk, man. I like 13 cents a risk doesn't scare me, so I would just take the trade on the break. And notice see how it held the trendy edge at the bottom, Todd. So like your stop in this case, see that blue line and that orange line? Those are automated levels. I wouldn't have my stop in between there. It'd be underneath that stuff. Yeah. Now, are you swinging it? Are you just trying to look for levels for today? Like, kind of give me some reference. Almost the target here. Okay, just for today. So I'm going to take you into a at least a 1 hour chart. Okay. And let's see. Why is this? Okay, I see. Almost there, folks. So this is really, I mean, from here it feels like a round number. So, you know, what I thought wouldn't be 4,200, it kind of looks like 4,200. But the most impressive thing that I want you to take from here is don't be biased. Just trade the levels. It doesn't matter if I don't think 4,200 is coming. I don't care. What I care about, are we holding the levels? Are we staying above the cloud? Are we hitting our targets? Are we being good stewards of our money? That's what's important. Who cares about whether or not your bias or your ideas were right or wrong? Just trade the freaking levels. Okay. I might have to take you to a 4 hour. Give me 1 second. Now, what I will tell you guys, if this inflection point here actually like really slows down the market, everything you're trading will most likely slow down, including MU, AMD, whatever. Okay. Something to think about. I might have to do a daily on this MU, man. Now, I'd expect MU to stall right here because the ES futures are stalling. So give me a second. Aha. I found what we're looking for. Okay. This is important, Tom. So I'm going to use my trendy edges. I'm going to put circles where we would have went long in this trade and circles where I believe you can have a big inflection point. Okay, understood? And I want you to look where my line is. Okay. This is the chart that matters in that particular trade, in my opinion. You just actually hit a target for me. Okay. So that was the top end of a supply zone. All right. If it could build over 72.11, you could see 73.46. And that 73.46 is pretty close to a daily gap fill. Do you see that, Todd? All right, so let's go over here to the NASDAQ just really quick, folks. Don't want to leave anybody on the NAS that didn't have a plan. Let's go ahead and go over that daily. Remember I told you we were getting close to the short trigger? I want to talk about that for a few seconds. There it is right there. So on a short trigger from this period right here, notice if we went over to the smaller time frame, no reason to get in front of that train. Why? Because we're floating above the cloud. We had trendy blue histogram bars. Nothing right here was telling me to go short, and that's what I love about applying the TTM squeeze into what we're doing here. Okay. Same thing. If you're trading the NAS, folks, and you traded the PMZ this morning, congratulations. Your risk was 13.25, and we've moved from 14,032 into 14,150. Beautiful trade to the upside. Again, be looking for top and wicks. You can measure from the pivot low to the pivot high, find the 23 and 38, and just kind of go from there. Yeah, so NASDAQ short for me, Bundy, would be you drop it when you get to a level, you drop into a lower time frame and watch your histogram on the pro down here. Okay. But same thing. Look for a topping wick, look for a rollover. But the problem is on a bullish day, when you measure, okay, let's just go from here. You need to understand when you're a trader, you need to understand where you go long and where you go short. Okay. If you decide to go short here, where would your stop be? Where would we bounce? I would say that we're going to bounce somewhere in there. So this would be your reward. So you have to ask yourself, I like to apply this number to every trade that you take today. Is there any reason to short here at the moment? Not on a 5-minute chart. Okay. Also, if you take 13 points of risk, if you were to hit this target down here, is it worth it to you? That's up to you. I can't answer for your account, right? But what I can do is tell you we could drop this into a smaller time frame. And let me do something really quick. I'm going to go to 3 minutes and 1 day. That way it doesn't mess up my charts. Yeah, even right here. So I'm on a 3-minute chart. I've got nothing but buy signals on my trendy cloud. There's no reason for me to go short at the moment. And then just to kind of double check and kind of help me with my tools down here, I'm going to look at the TTM Squeeze Pro and see what we got as far as histogram goes. I mean, we can all, count these levels here and we can see that there's probably more than 10. So we're probably getting pretty close to something happening. I wouldn't do anything though until we start to see a dark blue bar appear, something like that. And then a second one. Okay. Right now, no reason, man. Nothing there. Don't be the trader, right? It drives me crazy. We're big against this. Do not be a trader that wants to go short just because something's going up. Okay? Wait for levels. If it's not hitting a level, leave it alone. All right, guys, just for good measure, I'm going to take some off of my Tesla. Okay? All right, so you have a topping wick, okay? This is just a 3-minute chart. This is, if I could draw this out for you guys just really fast, okay? I'm going to come back over here to ES, but I want to draw something for you to kind of give you an idea of how I think, all right, when it comes to, for me, if I'm trying to short something, okay? All right, so really quick, bear with me. Let's go to a whiteboard. This is very typical what you'll see. You got candles moving up to the upside, right? Everybody agree? We're moving up, we're moving up. We get a topping wick, okay? On that next candle, I don't care if you're on a 1 minute, a 3 minute, a 5 minute, a 1 hour. Once we open on that candle, guys, tune in, make sure, are you with me? On this next candle, typically what will happen is that it'll start to push up, okay? And what I'm looking at is that this is giving me an indication that we could be turning. The market's moving, it's grooving, it's been really, pumping really this morning. And we get a topping wick, and I wait for this candle to come very close to the top. And the reason why I do that is because I feel comfortable the closer I get to that, the less my risk is going to be. See, if this candle had gone like this, and then you get the topping wick, right? And let's say I get the topping wick and immediately I go short, and then it opens up over it, which I've seen that happen, especially on smaller time frames, I just get stopped out. So I'd rather see the open here, see it come up to the almost the top. I go short, stops are right here, and then you're looking for the breakdown. That makes sense? But again, nothing here. Passing through the 93. Bulls got their sights on 4,200, it looks like. What a move, man. And I'm just so stoked, Melissa, for your Apple and Amazon trade. It looks like it's really working out. Who's in that Apple and who's in Apple and Amazon over here in the trading room? Nice, Bart. Pilot Rick, good job. Cashed out both today, never chase. Today you cashed out? Good morning, Lynn. Yep. Nice, man. Good job. Nice, good job. Sean B, I really appreciate the fact that you said NVIDIA. It's really cool that you had your biggest trade ever, man. So are you married, Sean? Don't tell your wife. Don't tell your wife about NVIDIA. No, what I was actually going to say is, what did she decide to do with it? Well, that's so funny. So great talk. So John, why did you come up with a 41.99.85 level? So on my indicators, that's a great question. On my indicators, if you look up and to the left, my arrows let me know where I could potentially have, well, not potentially, it's identifying supply zones for me. So all I got to do is, once I teach you how to manually find supply and demand, the indicators just make it easier, right? So the edges are, if the edges are above you, they're supply zones. So you can't really see, but this is, if I take this off of here, this is actually a supply zone. It's a indicator letting me know. I just put a line on there so you guys could see it better. But up and to the left, there's a supply zone in here. And I took the top of that structure. So basically right in here. Yep, that's all I did. Okay. Nice rounding bottom too. That trigger long, man, really worked out. 41.31. So again, long-term trades, pretty neat. If you're long from 30, it's a 200. Pretty cool. Chris, if we told you that, then we'd be giving away the indicator. But it's determined by pre-market action. That's the best I could tell you. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, nice, Glenn. I hope it helped, man. That $1,500, that's a lot of money on a Friday, baby. Right before the holiday of I hate saying the word holiday. You guys know I'm a veteran, right? And Memorial Weekend, it's kind of one of those things. I shared my story with you not too long ago. Um, I lost 4 friends in the military, very, very close friends, two of which I supervised. And a lot of people think that, that when we think about the military, it's, people die in action, but there's also, there's a lot of other things that happen in the military where people pass away. And for me, it's a time to celebrate and remember all the positive things that happened during my career. And when I think about Memorial Day weekend, besides thinking of my comrades, right, is thinking about barbecues, right? I told Ashley, I was like, we have to have skirt steak in the fridge right now. Skirt steak. It is like my favorite. I cook it so well on the green egg. And I cannot wait to marinate that baby after we're finished today. And we'll probably eat that tomorrow. We got some pool parties planned. I think it's supposed to be sunny here. Alexa, what's the weather this weekend?
In Gulf Breeze this weekend, rain is expected on Sunday. The remainder of the weekend will be sunny with a high of 84 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 63 degrees.
Thank you. 84 degrees, sunny, Sunday. We're supposed to have a little bit of rain. I'm pumped. Thanks, Pam. Appreciate that. Yeah, Sean B. I joined in 1996. Pappy, thanks for your service. It's awesome. Thanks, Glenn. I appreciate it. Thank you, CJ. Appreciate it. Wow, guys, what a move, right? 4202. Didn't see this coming, but who gives a shit? Oh, sorry. Like, what does it matter? And that's the thing. We're always flexible. So I had a supervisor in the Air Force that said, you need to be like Gumby, John, because I'm kind of rigid guy, you know, right? I'm kind of a rigid guy, right? And it's like, what I mean by that is I always look serious, And it's kind of a bummer, but my exterior doesn't really like show how I really am on the inside. And so my supervisor used to say, John, you're so damn serious, man. Be like Gumby. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you need to be flexible in your life. Like, just be open to anything, man. Like, anything can happen, right? And I think about that in trading is like, I remember, like, try to be flexible. And the only thing that will keep you from being flexible, folks, and you're going to hear me reiterate this over and over and over, is news. Too much information, too many opinions. Like, I'm telling you, I've been doing this live for a long time in front of people. I like a lot of people have changed the way that they look at things. What's amazing about supply and demand and these levels is that it's a catalyst that just pushes price there. That's all. You have to understand the whole idea of the market. Information is passed to induce fear and greed. If you are like the rest of retail traders, you're going to jump on the bandwagon with these folks. You're like, oh my gosh, but Jerome said this. and they're going to push price right into a demand zone, almost 8 times out of 10, you're going to sell your long position just to watch price turn around and go in the direction you thought it was going. In supply zones, which are above price, they are going to push FOMO, greed, into those levels. They tell you how much more the stock's going to go up, why the stock market's going to continue moving. And you're going to buy it. And then they're going to sell it, and you're only going to blame the things you heard. In order to do the complete opposite, you have to understand where these zones are, and then you got to start to think like the institution. Institutions are not buying in supply zones. They're buying in demand zones because you and me, retail, are scared out of our positions. We identify these levels before price gets there, and then we execute them. The idea, in theory, is for you and me to be lined up with the bigger money, not trading like 95% of other traders who are used to using that news to scare them in and out of positions or to FOMO them in positions, right? I know that it sounds trivial, and when you think about it, you're like, oh, I could do that. But the truth of the matter is, we're not wired to do this. And it takes a lot of rewiring to get you to where you need to be mentally. You could see the proof of concept in the alerts. You could see that we win a lot. You can see that we can coach very well. But that's all fun and games. When it comes down to it, you're going to react like you've been taught for many, many years. Okay? Right? Admit to yourself, most of you have been taught the wrong way. You think differently. You don't think like an institution. I don't even think like an institution sometimes. I'm not an institution. But there are a lot of things out there that can really help you in understanding how these things develop. If you look back and journal your trades, which I highly encourage you to do, you'll see that a lot of times you were right. You are a good trader. But what throws you off are the opinions and the ideas of talking heads. My question to you, do you listen to someone who talks a lot, or do you listen to somebody that executes what they talk about? I told myself I would be the person that takes trades and not just talk. I had to lead by example. I actually learned that in the Air Force. Have integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. When I first set up my alerts, I thought, man, this is going to be interesting. They're going to see everything I do. But then I realized really fast, how in the world could I be in front of a group of people and tell them to do something, but they have no idea if I actually did it or not? Right? So this is the thing about alerts, and I want to do a video on this, like on my social media, is that alerts are just a proof of concept, guys. It's just, for me, it's that you're seeing what I do, and you're like, hey, he traded his plan. Like, when I first started in this journey, I was I was sucked in by false hope. That was the thing, and I couldn't learn a strategy, and that's where I was eager. I needed to do this and fish on my own, right? And so the whole idea is to take supply and demand and break it down into something that I can explain to people from a trendy methodology. I didn't come up with supply and demand, obviously, but I love the idea around it. And I learned how to trade it using levels, and that's the cool part. So basically, my whole thing is to try to take out the hard part, because there's the school of hard knocks, right? And you have to understand you're going to lose in trading. I don't care how good you are. You're not going to have the best day every single day. Nice, JB. Yeah, well, the biggest thing, so the top and wick, Glenn, okay? Find your 23 and 38% of that NASDAQ, right? And trade off of those levels. If you're going to scalp long, I would trade off of those levels. But far as like going short, you need to understand what I just showed you guys a few minutes ago, right? What did I show you a few minutes ago? Right? Look for those little signs, and you probably already got one. Let me see. I could be wrong. Pilot Rick, Texas. I was stationed in Texas a long time ago, if that's what you're asking. I was actually born in Austin, Texas. Yeah. I live in Florida. I live in Florida. Nice, Rebecca. You guys send me your recipe. I'm kind of curious what you do. Sorry, I was just going through the chat. Need a pullback so you can sell some puts. Matt W. You suffer from the same look as me. Hard on the exterior. I'm a big crybaby on the inside. Nice, nice. Good job on buying those spy calls, man. Congratulations. Yep, news is just an accelerator to the zones. That's exactly right. Johnny G, been here for 4 weeks. How you doing though? GRL, you only listen to me. That's awesome. That sounds kind of egotistical. I don't mean it like that. Sorry. Any of you guys ever come out here and yeah, so thoughts on the market trending sideways after the morning run. How do we do that? So, Al, I wouldn't, if you're looking at trying to think of an idea of selling an iron condor, on NQ, my next target here is 14,294. Your support is 14,074. So for the rest of the day, I'm going to take a guess here and say that these are your two levels. Okay. That's what I think on the NAS. Okay, between 14,294 and 14,074. Okay. Let's look at the ES really quick. Man, oh man, that Amazon is fired up. Oh my gosh. And we went, hey guys. So, I mean, I was wrong. I said that we would be inside this week. And here we are busting out. This is a continuation candle to the upside. So, another thing I want to show you on the NASDAQ, I want to say this is the second week up, and we could see three white soldiers on the weekly. That would be pretty impressive. Our META is looking great, up $6 almost today. Nice. Melissa, your Amazon and your Apple. Are you still? So I'm losing you in the chat because I'm looking at two chat rooms. Are you still in these Amazon and Apple? Nice, Rebecca. Thanks for giving me that recipe. Um, yeah, so ES 4220 right now. If we make a new pivot high, then that would be a big deal. We are contending against these topping wicks here, folks. But 4220 and support of 4177. These are the two levels that I'm looking at. Remember, I'm a bull by nature, so anytime I give you guys, uh, these levels, I'm always happy if we continue up. Um, I am not a huge fan of iron condors, only because I've seen some people get run over big time, you know, and I'm more of a component of call debit spreads, and you like the idea of some put credit spreads, but iron condors are cool. A lot of you guys do that. You sell credit around my levels. I definitely don't like doing iron condors in earnings. Um, you know, Hey, yeah, I can hear you, Melissa. Give me 1 second. I can barely hear you. I need to turn this up really quick. It's me, I think. There you go. Yeah, I can hear you. That's funny. Yeah. So if you guys don't know, if you're listening over on the future side, we have a moderator here as well in the trendy trading room in Simpler that trades with us. Same thing, uses API alerts and all that good stuff. And she's actually um, she's been with us since last July from Simpler, and she's so damn good that she became a moderator for me. And I would have to say that the majority of traders here absolutely love her. We have like an exceptional team. I mean, I really, when I say team, everybody on our side over here is a team. We're all working on the same levels, working towards the same goal of trying to make money, and that's what it's all about. But what Melissa just said, if you didn't hear her, which I really like to pass on to the masses, is she really loves to use this Fibonacci's to stay in her trade. So she's in Apple and Amazon, and she started those trades a couple days ago, maybe last week. So she's in a swing for the room, and she holds like she hit her targets. So now she starts putting those fibs on, just like I taught you on the ES futures this morning. And but she doesn't look at PL, right? And that's what that is something you could really take home with you. She focuses on levels. It's not about what you're making, it's about process. She took the trade because of demand. She hit her targets. She uses Fibonacci, and she just said to the room like she doesn't want to know what her percentage PL is. She'll know when she gets stopped out, right? She knows she's profitable. Like we all know that, right? But it's really difficult. But I want to give a little background. I believe everything is against the retail trader. You already heard my spill about news, but I think that percentage is one of the biggest things that people look at, and they judge themselves. It's kind of messed up. So you can get in an option and be down 50%, but your process isn't broken. So you look over at the monitor tab and you go, I'm down 50%. I've lost this trade. I'm not good at trading, and you get out just to watch it work. We do the opposite. It's process first. Well, first, I should say it's patience. It's patience to wait for your levels. Then you trade the process. Then you get to see what your percentage and profits are when you're finished. If you're concentrating on your PL and your percentage, what it looks like on the intraday, I think it's there to steer you. away from staying in trades and not sticking to your process. Do you guys understand that? Yeah, I'm big on that when it comes to long-term trades. You know, a lot of people can't stay in their trades long enough, and I think that's because they look at percentage. Like I'm buying leaps, you know, and if something's down 50%, I don't care. Like that's not, I'm not here for that. I'm trying to see if my candles, if I'm looking for a monthly candle to close over a cloud, I got to wait for an entire month before I know if my process is working. If we're trading intraday off a 1 hour chart, I need to know if the 1 hour closes over my levels. If we're trading 5 minutes, I need to know, is it closing 5 minutes over something? So whatever chart that we're using, that's what you got to concentrate on. So for example, you just asked me about, you know, NASDAQ and stuff. It's all about today's candle close. It's not about the 5 minute, right? It's about the 5 minute if you're in the trading, you're trying to stay in. Yeah, looking at PL makes me cut winners short and losers run. Isn't that crazy? That's what one of our members said. And Bart says it just cost him $1,000 because he was looking at his PL on his SPY. So you were up, right, Bart? So you took profits too early. Is that what you're trying to say? Oh, Dave, awesome. Good job. All right, so top and wick on it looks like futures. We'll get back over here. And how long is my session today, guys? Is it till 10? Is that what it is? And then we'll bounce. 80%. Nice. Good job. So this was from the other day. Next target if 4220 holds. Bulls need a weekly close over this. In my opinion, this would be huge for a breakthrough. So again, I just want to reiterate that. If we can close over 4220, that would be huge for a breakthrough, in my opinion, because what's happening is you're getting over, you're trying, honestly, I shouldn't say 4220. I mean, a close would be a big deal over that, but it's really about 4223 to 4225. Kind of makes me want to buy, it kind of makes me want to buy SPX into this level, or even ES into that level, just in case we want to pop up in there. So. Yeah, so the squeeze for me is more of a tool. I don't really put as much emphasis as my strategy on that, if that makes sense. A lot of times, this is where supply and demand has the edge, just to be clear. Supply and demand is the go-to for me, okay? The histogram is more of a tool if you need that to kind of help you in your decision to go long or short. So let me kind of show you really quick. Let's go over here to a 5 minute. Okay. Okay. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful, right? Yes, you have a topping wick. If you're going to try and short, let's open this up a little bit. We have our top right here. Okay. Let's do some Fibonacci's. This is kind of cool. We can use Fibonacci's even on a smaller time frame. Okay. Let's see if we can pop. You don't want it to go past this. Okay. It cannot make a new high. Let's see if we pop here. So in this case, 28, give me 1 second. I need to take that off. I can't see it. Boom. Okay, 48 by 50. This is only like a 3-point risk. And this is what I love about this, right? So if you're trying to short here, your risk should only be about 4 points or so, not 13. Okay. That makes sense? Look at that. It just blew right through. Strong, man. Strong. Plus, we had a buy signal there. So I almost was thinking about it. Glad I didn't pull the trigger. Yeah. Yeah. NQ is absolutely amazing there. Topping wick. Is the ES at, it's over 4,200? We said possibly 4,220. It's pretty insane. Pretty insane mood, man. Jeez. Oh, yeah. We're in Netflix too. We're up $7 today. Not bad. Not bad. Do I primarily do spreads? No. Oh, you mean like on futures, April? Is that what you mean? I'm going to cover. Sorry, I went short here on the Nazi. I'm going to cover real quick. And the only reason is because we got that top and wick there. I almost took this one and would have got blown out. But we'll see if we can get back over here. See how fast. It's just not worth it. The risk to reward right now is like kind of ugly for the downside. You don't want to be that person that's trying to short an entire run of 300 points here, So just not worth it. Pappy, you did get blown out? Yeah. That's the thing. I always tell people here in the room is I got a buddy that always tries to short these rallies. And like, I just feel like the better trade is going above the PMZ and staying there as long as we're above the 23 and 38. So this one is working. So Apple, NASDAQ's pulling back just a little bit. And let's see, Apple, are you closed there or is that a trend, Melissa? And no, stocks April here. The easy, let's see. Let me see if I can show you this really quick. So here you go. So you guys can see my screen in here. Right, these are alerts. And these again are coming from API. So you kind of get an idea what kind of trades, like this is a straight up call. You get the gain percentage or loss on this. Same thing. This is a straight up call. Right here, you get the gain or percentage. So win or lose, you're going to see that unless I let a trade go to zero, which I will let trades go to zero because I trade primarily with what I'm willing to lose on most trades. If I go really big, I won't do that. Let's see, come up here. And so we do this every single morning. So like what you guys saw this morning, this comes out every single morning. Here's some debit spreads going into earnings. Had a great day yesterday as well. Apple 80%. Bought Meta. It tells you the quantity of what we take and if anything's left as well. I take equity as well. And so you'll see that. So your question to answer you, it'll tell you what we're taking, whether it's spreads or whatever. And then we took SPX for 85%. I do butterflies as well. And Apple again, 50%. Apple, 28%. It's kind of moving down. You can see Melissa's trade here. It tells you the quantity. This was an awesome trade we took yesterday. 514%. on the video. So I trade everything. So I am primarily though like straight up buy to open, sell to close, but I don't mind doing spreads. Yep. Yeah, you're welcome, April. Yeah, is our Tesla looking pretty good? Nice. We got 56 days on Tesla. So I get that question too, like how much time we buy and stuff like that. Awesome. Got some so I say this. I believe you're getting a huge bonus because it's not just me, right? Like we have a ton of good traders in the room. It's pretty neat. Yeah, I do have a webinar on the 31st, guys, if you didn't know. All right, guys, so we'll keep and continue to watch prices hold these bullish levels. There's not really anything going on here that's changed drastically. So I wouldn't change the tune until the cloud breaks. You know, this cloud is support until proven otherwise. So unless things change anytime soon, then the cloud is our master. Yeah. Don't fight the cloud, folks. No, I have my own room. I'll be in here anytime they need coverage. So, hey, baby. It won't be until after my call, which will be after 11:30. 10:30. Yeah, yeah. No, I think we could definitely go. Yeah, I think we should go for sure. Yeah. Yes, that's right. I am only at Simpler. No, not right. Oh, to take with us? Yeah, make a sandwich for. What's that? No, I'm not hungry right now. Yeah, I'd rather not eat. I do better when I don't eat in the morning. My brain feels crisp, you know. But I would love to have those chicken croissants to take on the boat. But I think we'll probably eat over there. So yeah, yeah. Yeah, Leah, I could definitely give a quick overview of my indicators really quick so everybody can understand them. They really are pretty straightforward. And the best way that I can explain them is go really fast over what they look like. We'll go to a little bit of a higher time frame, okay? So this is Apple. Are you listening right now? That way we can kind of make sure that you got, okay, cool. And this is for anybody else that's curious. First of all, I always like to do this as a disclaimer. Indicators, why did I come up with them? Honestly, to make my trading faster. My whole idea was to be able to roll out of bed, come to my screen, and be able to take a trade. I don't listen to news and I don't really rely on anybody else. However, what I do rely on are just the levels, right? And what I find out is that after I teach you how to manually find these levels, is that most traders, they also want to cut out the time. And so the levels are just there as a convenience. Okay. So that's my little disclaimer for you. The the edges, okay, there are 4 different edges. Okay. And the reason why I did this is because, look over here on the right side of my screen, is because traders are all different. I got traders that like to leap trade. I got traders that like to sell credit weeks or months out in advance. I got traders that want to scalp. I got traders that want to be in 1 to 3 days. And each one of these colors, 4 colors, they are specifically for a different type of trader. Okay. So the edges identify a playing field of supply and demand. For example, if you notice here on Apple, I'll take these off. Okay. Notice here that price went bid. Okay. What you're not seeing, and it's part of the indicator, is the cloud. The cloud actually pops up if you want it to. Okay. So these are zones, and a lot of people just look at it and think it's just a line, but these are zones. Okay. The idea here is to go long at the bottom, and you can use the TTM Pro, like I said, as a tool to kind of help you get into the trade if you want. And then the idea is to take the trade from here, okay, to here, and then finally here. Do you understand that? Because this one up here is actually a supply zone, okay, right there. All right. So this is from a weekly perspective. The yellow lines are basically what you're trying to do here is you are trying to stay in the trade, and the idea is that you will be profitable if it works out somewhere between 1 to 5 days. Sometimes we hit levels here and literally bounce like this in 1 day. Sometimes that happens. Okay. Short sellers, or somebody that's trying to take profits on their Apple, would be looking at taking profits here. Okay. Now, over here inside my watch list, I have a scanner because I don't want to like just go through every name and go, hey, where are we when it comes to the edges? So this is a quick way of me understanding where we are. This is a daily supply and demand zone. This is a weekly supply or demand zone. This is a monthly supply or demand zone. This is a yearly supply or demand zone. The blue ones are for basically my leap traders. The pink ones are for traders who are looking to be in a trade from 30 to 60 days. The orange ones are basically anywhere from 30 minutes to a day. And then our yellow ones, there's only one right here right now, is like I said, 1 to 4 days, 1 to 5 days, sorry. Okay. So again, edges are identifying playing fields of supply and demand. Understand that part? Anybody have questions? All right. So the next one is going to be the cloud, right? A lot of people have clouds. This is like an EMA cloud. However, the cloud itself is a little bit more robust, and I say that it's the Cadillac of clouds. It turns the candles different colors. It keeps you in a trade. It's for trend riding. You're going to the upside. You want to stay in a trade as long as it can stay above the cloud. The cloud changes on multiple different time frames. Okay. Now, why I call it the Cadillac is because it turns based on different crossovers and so forth. It's going to turn the color of the candles different colors. So you have a red to neutral to momentum green. So it's exactly what it says. Look to go short. Right here, expect chop. And right here, momentum is building. And a lot of times you'll see that the colors are kind of lined up with the TTM down here. Not the same though, okay? The most important thing that I really love, okay? The most important thing right here for me is to understand that the indicators themselves, when they fire off, these are letting me know where demand or supply zones are. All right. And then finally, we have the PMZ, which we went over before, the pre-market zone, which seems to be like our most important one. And then line in the sand is just a pivot point that we use in conjunction with the PMZ. So PMZ is probably the favorite. And I forgot I have this on a 3-minute, so let's get to a 5-minute. All right, folks. So it looks like what I'm going to do from here is remind you that we have a webinar, and it's after a long weekend, so you guys be safe. And I really want to make sure I can see you guys on the 31st at 7 p.m. And we'll have some really, in my opinion, some really special um, things going on there. Not only do you get to learn a little bit about myself and what the strategy looks like, but there's some of the biggest deals I've ever seen in my life. And I say that because I've always considered what we do a high premium, and it still is very premium indicator, premium education. And I feel very, very confident that what I teach and what I do will help you out to become a more mechanical, repeatable, consistent trader. So anyways, you guys could see Apple kind of popping up into this upper supply zone, kind of working, and I think one of you guys are saying like maybe the ES futures kind of pulling back a little bit. So good. I hope these levels are kind of helping you. Hey, yeah, I appreciate it. You enjoy your weekend too, guys. Hope to see you out on the 31st. Do me a favor if you're out there and you come on the webinar, folks, like give me some encouragement, pump me up. I can't wait to see you there. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer those when we get there. But you guys have a safe and wonderful weekend. And don't forget to have a great barbecue. Even the vegetarians, right? You guys could throw some vegetables on the grill. That's always fun. See you guys soon.